Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest edition of the World Report. I'm Scott Crowfoot. On today's report, the president gets out his veto pen on the Keystone XL pipeline. More hateful rhetoric from the administration towards Israel's Bibi Netanyahu. Is Libya falling to the savages of ISIS? The RNC finally pulled its head out of the sand regarding the presidential primary debates, and our history segment discusses LBJ's famous wars. And now to our top stories. The GOP caves on the president's illegal amnesty and internet takeover. Fed Chair Janet Yellen says, in no uncertain terms, interest rates will not go up in the near future. With me, as always, is the World Report's senior analyst and economics blogger for USA Today Online, Morris Beschloss, who can be followed on Twitter at @mbeschloss. Morris, you recently wrote a blog about inflation, deflation, and disinflation. How do they relate, and where's the United States right now? I know it's a little bit tough for people to grab, but they hear these terms all the time.
You see, one of the things that's wrong with any kind of communication on economics, people don't have the basis for understanding. And the only reason I have is I've been in business management for all the years, but more important, I write every single day, and I spend about 3 or 4 hours, and I'm learning myself. But these three terms, inflation, deflation, and disinflation. Well, first of all, inflation, obviously, when the availability of goods is short and the demand is higher than the supply. What do you got then? You got the prices go up. Deflation is when the reverse is true. When you have a glut like we have on oil today, the oil prices are in deflation because they went from $100 a barrel down to $50 a barrel. That's one of the reasons why the price at the pump went down. That's why all the problems regarding fracking, cutback, and energy development has slowed down. But that's because you have too much supply and you don't have enough demand. It's as simple as that. Inflation is too few supplies, too much demand, and just the reverse is true. And disinflation means when you're halfway in between, when the situation goes from an inflationary situation, even if it's a mild one, to a mild deflationary. It's really a moderation of the major terms.
So where's the United States right now? Because Janet Yellen's report that she gives once or twice a year, she was talking about inflation. They want it to be around 2% before they raise interest rates again. So where exactly do you see the United States right now?
We are still in a disinflationary environment because, and this is true all over the world, because commodities, whether you're talking about oil, you're talking about steel, you're talking about copper, you're talking about iron ore, or agricultural products, or you're talking about the precious metals like gold and silver, the prices are all down again because people and countries are not buying. This is not just an American situation. This is true today, definitely in Europe, and of course in the non-developed country, they aren't developing as fast as we thought they would. Now the key to that situation is the fact that when Xi Jinping, the new Chinese dictator, and he is, by the way, he's not a leader of a committee now. Jinping has taken over the way Mao Zedong took over. He's the final word, and that's just the way it is. He said, wait a second, we've grown too fast. We've got empty apartment buildings. We have
empty cities.
Empty cities, exactly. We have too much backlog. We got too much oil and copper. So what does he told the Central Bank of China, don't give any loans. You know, China still is based on government. The government controls everything. All he had to do was say stop doing it. So China suddenly is not buying the oil that they used to. They're not buying the copper they used to. So consequently, the whole world for the last 20 years has been depending on China's demand of everything.
And the Chinese middle class has grown and burgeoned faster than any other
Unbelievable.
society.
Yeah, even
now that's got to have stagnating effects on them right now.
Well, I think it's a good thing for China and the world because the demand, they have more cars on the road today than they did last year or the year before. As a matter of fact, they say that this year China will build or import more cars than we will make here in the United States, which is amazing. Of course, their basic population is 1.4 billion, ours is 320 million. But you made an excellent point in the evolution of China. Internally, the demand is changing. Instead of trying to bet on the come by building cities, which, as you say, were empty, now they have, now this new leader of China says, wait a second, let's slow down, let's get people off the farm, because they were almost totally an agrarian society, and let's start giving them jobs in the cities, and they're doing okay. I mean, China, we used to look at China to have a projected growth of 10% a year, just a few years.
Which is incredible.
Which is incredible, especially for a country that large. But they were, as I say, they were buying tremendous quantities of everything. Well, they came down last year to about 7.5. This year, they're supposed to be down to 7%. I think they might be as low as 5%.
How does that affect the currency? Because there is a currency battle going on with the yuan and all the other currencies across the world.
Well, interesting that you mentioned I guess you call it the yuan or the yuan or whatever you want to pronounce it. It's been pegged to the dollar. Again, that what they tried to do. You see, China got a sort of a mixed problem. On the one hand, when they started out being a huge export factor, they went right past Japan, so it looked like Japan was going backward. Japan was the big exporter in the late 1980s. China took over from them. So they deliberately tried to keep the yuan down. Well, then I think this happened even before the current leader. The Central Bank of China decided to slow down this deflation of the yuan. Now it's pegged to the dollar, and it's getting more expensive again because the dollar is hitting new highs all the time. So China is caught in the middle in this sense. They still would like to be competitive in their exports, but at the same time, they've bought all these import items, like oil. Well, by the yuan being cheaper, they have to pay more for import. They're caught in the middle between exports and imports and development. But I wouldn't feel too sorry for them. They're doing extremely well.
Probably one of the few economies in the world that is doing fairly well.
Well, it's interesting that the two great economies in the world right now are China and India. And India is now projected to pass China in percentage of growth.
That's interesting because I don't think that that's on many people's radar right now.
No, it isn't.
I haven't heard a lot about India.
Well, India right now has gotten their act together, which is amazing because they do have somewhat of a democratic approach to things, and they have a tremendous social distinction situation. They used to call them the lowest class were the untouchables, and the top were the Brahmins, the Maharajas, and all the big aristocrats. Well, they're very intelligent people. They send more people to schools outside of their country than any other country does. And these people come back to India now because there's jobs for them. And technologically speaking, in the last 10 years, India has gone tremendously forward.
A very intelligent population.
Very well,
scholared and intelligent.
I would say the Hindu part of it is. I'm not making a statement here of trying to separate the Muslim part, but unfortunately the Muslim segment is sort of at the bottom of the barrel as far as being involved.
Be careful, we don't want to get in trouble insulting the
Well, I'm not,
Muslims.
yeah, I know. Well, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
Hinduism is like Confucianism was in China. This is a thought process that's thousands of years old. And you're right, they're very intelligent people.
The Department of Homeland Security funding. A lot of people are getting caught in the middle here, not understanding exactly what's going on between whether they're going to fund the whole thing, whether it's going to block the president's illegal amnesty. Explain to the folks in a minute or so, if you could, what's going on with that situation there.
Well, you see, here's another case where the president has an idea that if he doesn't get everything he wants, he just as soon see it go out the window. The Department of Homeland Security became a factor after 9/11, and they did a good job. It's really a way of trying to keep out nefarious elements from this country who were going to make things worse, and gave the FBI much more leeway to go spy on different organizations and
But
so
didn't
on.
we have enough with the CIA, the FBI, local law enforcement? Didn't we have enough already in that area? Did we really need to create another bureaucracy?
I totally agree with you, but at least what it did do, it implemented the standing organization that we are proud of, like the FBI, for instance, and the CIA overseas. And the Homeland Security was too much of an opening for a president to do what he wants. He can do anything he wants. He can spy on people,
Start wars.
and also give the Internal Revenue Service an opportunity to come down on people that don't agree with him.
So where does the GOP stand right now? Is this something that they're going to fund and let the president get away with his illegal amnesty? Are they going to stop this? Where's this going to end?
I so far have not seen anything that the Republicans have done to put a stop to this White House denizen trying to take over this country.
It's as if the last election never even happened.
So far, I haven't seen any proof that it's otherwise.
We need to step away for a brief moment. We will return with our economic and energy update, the political insider, and the moment in history. We get lots of questions from viewers from all ends of the globe. If you'd like to ask Maury a question, it's simple, it's free. Just email your question or video to Maury@theworldreport.org. Remember to like us, recommend us, and leave comments.